At Arizona State University, we're bringing world-class education from our globally acclaimed faculty to you. Earn your degree from the nation's most innovative university. Online. That's a degree better. Learn more at asuonline.asu.edu.
The following is a Red Apple Podcast Network presentation.
They say this is a big rich town. I just come from the poet's part. Bright light, city life, I gotta make it.
Welcome to Dominic Carter's podcast. This is Dominic Carter's City Hall. Now, here's Dominic Carter.
Red Apple Podcast Talk Radio 77, WABC. Catch me, Dominic Carter, live weekdays at 3 to 4 p.m. Eastern, and again live weeknights midnight to 1 a.m. Plus, don't miss the Sunday night edition from 11 p.m. until 1 a.m. Listen anywhere nationally or throughout the world. To do so, download the free 77 WABC app or stream live at WABCRadio.com, WABCRadio.com. Carnage in Crown Heights, Brooklyn. A hookah lounge turns into a war zone. 3 dead, 9 others wounded. After his Washington, D.C. National Guard and police crackdown, President Trump already warns New York City could be next. His possible move to bring the Guard here may be the only shot at restoring safety to our streets, at least short term. This is my podcast. Let's go. Before we even get to the Brooklyn mass shooting, we must start with Washington, D.C. And this opening commentary is from part of my radio show.
This is 3-year-old Honesty Cheadle. She's a beautiful little girl, and after fighting for her life in the hospital, we have learned that Honesty has died. Police tell us she was shot by a stray bullet in southeast D.C. on Saturday. She's just 3 years old.
The con is over. See? Somebody has got to put these animals in check. In deep check, it's the only language they understand. Pete Hegseth announcing that the National Guard has officially begun mobilizing in the nation's capital, and you'll see them flowing into the streets.
At your direction this morning, we've mobilized the D.C. National Guard. You will see them flowing into the streets of Washington in the coming week. At your direction as well, sir, there are other units we are prepared to bring in. Other National Guard units, other specialized units. They will be strong, they will be tough, and they will stand with their law enforcement partners. This is nothing new for DOD.
You commit the crime, you're going to jail. And the system should not care how young you are. I don't care if you're 12, 13. You commit the crime, you should go to jail. Mr. President, it is exactly why I voted for you. For once, we have a politician that's doing what he promised, and he's trying to clean up America.
We need all the protection that we can get in the city because the city is really getting dangerous. A person like me at this age, I have to make sure to come home before sundown.
You know what, folks? Nobody wants to talk about the dirty little secret. Nobody wants to deal with it, but I'll deal with it. Black on black crime. Oh, you can't talk about that. We have to walk around on eggshells because if you talk about that, it's racist. You can't deal with that topic. Let's pretend that it doesn't exist. A black man pulling a gun, hitting that 3-year-old baby. 3-year-old Honesty Cheadle, 3 years old. A week ago, you haven't heard peep about this baby in D.C. Oh, Trump, here Trump, he's taking over the police in the cities, and Trump, oh, he's the devil. Nobody wants to talk about the dirty little secret, black on black crime. And now, after the deadly mass shooting in Brooklyn, it's hard to deny President Trump sending the National Guard may be exactly what New York City needs.
Purpose, very serious purpose. Something's out of control, but we're going to put it in control very quickly like we did on the southern border. I'm announcing a historic action to rescue our nation's capital from crime, bloodshed, bedlam, and squalor, and worse. This is Liberation Day in D.C., and we're going to take our capital back. We're taking it back under the authorities vested in me as the President of the United States. I'm officially invoking Section 740 of the District of Columbia Home Rule Act. You know what that is? And placing the D.C. Metropolitan Police Department under direct federal control, and you'll be meeting the people that will be directly involved with that. Very good people, but they're tough, and they know what's happening, and they've done it before. In addition, I'm deploying the National Guard to help reestablish law, order, and public safety in Washington, D.C., and they're going to be allowed to do their job properly. And you people are victims of it, too. You know, you're reporters, and I understand a lot of you tend to be on the liberal side, but you don't want to get mugged and raped and shot and killed. And you all know people and friends of yours that happened. And so you can be anything you want, but you want to have safety in the streets. You want to be able to leave your apartment or your house where you live and feel safe and go into a store to buy a newspaper or buy something. And you don't have that now. The murder rate in Washington today is higher than that of Bogota, Colombia, Mexico City, some of the places that you hear about as being the worst places on earth. Much higher. This is much higher. The number of car thefts has doubled over the past 5 years, and the number of carjackings has more than tripled. Murders in 2023 reached the highest rate probably ever. They say 25 years, but they don't know what that means because it just goes back 25 years. Can't be worse. Our capital city has been overtaken by violent gangs and bloodthirsty criminals, roving mobs of wild youth, drugged-out maniacs and homeless people. And we're not going to let it happen anymore. We're not going to take it.
And if you're familiar with Judge Jeanine Pirro, formerly of Fox News, and the one-time high-profile district attorney of Westchester County, New York, then you know she is the new U.S. Attorney for D.C., and Jeanine Pirro is no joke.
We all want the same thing. We all want a safe city. We want a safe capital. We want to be able to bring our families here. We want to be able to come and enjoy the history that makes this place great. And unfortunately, we are not in that position right now. And Mr. President, I want to thank you for taking the step that we need right now to make criminals understand that they are not going to get away with it anymore. And I'm not going to stand here and go over and over the cases. But what I can tell you is this. I see too much violent crime being committed by young punks who think that they can get together in gangs and crews and beat the hell out of you or anyone else. They don't care where they are. They can be in DuPont Circle, but they know that we can't touch them. Why? Because the laws are weak. I can't touch you if you're 14, 15, 16, 17 years old and you have a gun. I convict someone of shooting another person with an illegal gun on a public bus in the chest, intent to kill. I convict him. And you know what the judge gives him? Probation. Says you should go to college. We need to go after the D.C. Council and their absurd laws. We need to get rid of this concept of, no cash bail. We need to recognize that the people who matter are the law-abiding citizens, and it starts today. But it's not going to end today, because the president is going to do everything we need to do to make sure that these emboldened criminals understand we see you, we're watching you, and we're going to change the law to catch you. And my final note is this. These kids understand that the jurisdiction is through the state attorney general, Brian Schwab. I did a poster of the young man from Doge who was beaten bloody with a severe concussion, a broken nose. And then I did a poster of what happens to those kids, because I can't arrest them, I can't prosecute them. They go to family court, and they get to do yoga and arts and crafts. Enough. It changes today. Thank you, Mr. President.
And your little badass child / predator should not be able to do yoga in arts and crafts in family court. Little Johnny needs to be in a cage. Enough. The truth is, maybe you should have never had that little badass, out of control little Johnny. You didn't have the parenting skills. And do you ever stop to think about how much you are embarrassing your own people? Hello, black on black crime in D.C. Even the police union there, and unions always nervous about someone encroaching on the jobs of their members, displacing their workers. Even the police union supports the National Guard in D.C. and police takeover.
President Trump earlier saying he's deploying the National Guard to the nation's capital and placing police under federal control now. Let's bring in D.C. Police Union Chairman Gregory Pemberton. Thank you so much, sir, for being here. So from your view, is this necessary?
Well, look, we completely agree with the president that crime in the District of Columbia is out of control and something needs to be done with it. We have to go back to how we got here, though. In 2020, the D.C. City Council passed an enormous amount of legislation that handcuffed police officers, exposes them to administrative, civil, and even criminal liability, even when they do their jobs properly. And now, 5 years later, our authorized sworn strength is 4,000 sworn police officers. We currently have 3,180. So we have more than 800 vacancies for the position of police officer. And the way the department makes up for that gap is through 2 million hours of mandatory overtime every year. So the fact that we need help from federal law enforcement and maybe even the National Guard, it shouldn't come as a surprise, and we agree with that. I think one of the issues here, though, is that we all know that's going to be temporary. So in order to fix this problem and make sure that it doesn't ebb and flow and that the feds come in and we lower crime and then they leave and we're left holding the bag, it's very important that people know that there is underlying legislation that needs to be corrected so that we can actually properly staff this police department in order to properly police the city.
But as usual, the racial arsonists scream bloody murder like Eddie Glaude on MSNBC.
Watch them. The police are standing, and they're told, don't do anything under any such, and you can see they want to get at it. And they're standing there, and people are spitting in their face, and they're not allowed to do anything. But now they are allowed to do whatever the hell they want.
Whatever the hell they want. As if police have been not doing anything before this, Eddie. What do you make of that? Whatever the hell they want.
Chris, to be honest with you, I'm trying to hold my temper. I think there's an ongoing argument that he's having in his head with Black Lives Matter. There's an ongoing argument that he's having with the questions around criminal justice reform and police reform. It's interesting that he really doesn't really care about what's actually happening in D.C. on a certain level, because he's not trying to get at the underlying root causes. He's not looking at examples of how to address rising crime rates that doesn't require a form of policing that leads to increased incarcerality and the like. Let's look at what's going on in Baltimore. Let's look at what's happening actually in places like Baltimore and Chicago, right? So part of what we have to do is to understand. And Oakland. We have to understand this, Chris, within the context of Donald Trump's racial politics and within the context of his effort to get Epstein off the front pages. I understand David's point, but when we try to treat this as a rational response, then we lose sight of the actual politics that's being played here. And he's actually trying to give his base red meat to get them off of the Epstein story, and it's on the backs of citizens in Washington, D.C. He's going to undermine the democratic process in the district. And so I understand what David is trying to say, but we need to be clear about what Donald Trump is doing.
Before we go, bottom line, if something is not done, that horrific crime scene, folks, could be coming to you or someone you love. D.C. residents are praising President Trump.
So you're an attorney. No, but I assist.
Oh, cool. So what are your thoughts? Today we're talking about D.C. crime rates. Is it safe to live in D.C.? Do you agree with President Trump federalizing for 30 days to sort of stamp down on crime? What are your thoughts?
I agree with it. I was born and raised in the district, and I've never seen the things that I see today with children as young as 3 years old being shot. I mean, where does that happen? I think it's a bad idea to fear what this president is doing. I mean, he actually lives in the city now. I mean, come on. He would be foolish, I think, to ignore things like that. A child, 3 years old, being shot, or people being shot on the bus. I mean, that happened in upper Northwest Washington, D.C. So, I mean, yeah, I think I agree.
In upper Northwest and like the areas, because it's hard finding actual D.C. residents here in this area. Mm-hmm. It's mostly like bureaucrats and whatnot. It's not the real D.C. people. Yeah. Do they generally support this? Do they feel like they want crime to be under control, or are they against it?
I do. I believe that most people that live here, that work hard every day and have families, they want the crime rate to be brought under control. They want the situation of, like I said, children being shot, seniors being assaulted. They want that under control. Okay. And I believe that this is the best thing that has happened to this city in a very, very long time, for the president to take control and, of the police, of the crime. I think it's a great idea. I really, really do.
And that is all the time we have. Catch me, Dominic Carter, live weekdays at 3 to 4 p.m. Eastern. And again, live weeknights, midnight to 1 a.m. Plus, don't miss the Sunday night edition from 11 p.m. until 1 a.m. Listen anywhere nationally or throughout the world. To do so, download the free 77 WABC app or stream live at WABCRadio.com, WABCRadio.com. Red Apple Podcast Talk Radio 77, WABC.
I gotta make it.
Dominic Carter Socials on Twitter at Dominic TV and Facebook and Instagram. Dominic Carter TV. Email at dominic.carter@wabcradio.com. Until the next episode, be well. And as Dominic always says, stay positive. The glass is always half full, never half empty. Dominic Carter City Hall.